What's going on, y'all? Corpus Christi Originals podcast, back at it again, coming live from the Produce Streamlabs studio. Joined with me, co-host Xain Sanchez, and our guest is Eli Molina.
What's up?
So, welcome. Thank you guys so much for joining the podcast.
Cool.
All right, man.
How y'all doing?
Pleasure,
All right.
pleasure to be here.
Yeah, no problem. We had a the spur of the moment. You guys came on out of nowhere, so appreciate you guys coming on. I think I'm scaring people away because we're in the studio now. But anyway, but yeah, I'm nervous right now. Try not to be. But yeah, so how y'all doing? What's going on?
Doing good, man. I'm glad to be here. I hadn't been here in a while. I was talking to your buddy over here. Last time I was here, the studio was on the other side, upstairs. And I guess now they changed it, so it's been a minute since I've been here, but I'm glad what they're doing here. It's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, it is.
I love what Dusty's doing.
Nice. So you work at, what do you do for a living? So what do you do for a living?
I'm a recording engineer. So
Okay.
I work for Freddie Records. Been there 6 years now, going on 7. That's my day job. I still play, I still write, produce, pretty much, been in the music world pretty much all my life.
All right,
So that's what I've been doing now.
So Freddie Records, that's located on, where's that? Staples and Saratoga?
Staples and
Woolridge.
Yeah.
Oh.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I remember seeing it open up for the first time. And I remember it was somewhere else. I couldn't remember where it was at, but we were talking about where it was.
Yeah, actually, they've had that was before I was there, but they had another location on SPID, which was there before this one. And then down Chaparral here, down the street actually from here, I think is the original building.
Oh, nice.
Where I think that was probably 50 years ago.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Because they've been around 52, 53 years now.
Well, yeah. It might be 60 now. We're in the 20s.
60.
Yeah.
60 years, okay.
Yeah, so they have a long tradition. And it's a very cool place to work at, man. Shout out to the Martinez family. It's really a blessing to work there. And
Yeah, how did you get into, well, it seems like you've been doing it for years. Just
dude, I've been doing it pretty much my whole life since as long as I can remember. I did the music thing real early on when I was still in high school. Then doing the band thing, and then I went to college and I studied music, and I actually had my bachelor's in music. So I did that for a while, and then started writing and composing and doing music for film and music for TV, and then now producing, there at Freddie's and stuff.
That's amazing.
Dang.
Yeah, had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really a great job, and I can't wait. Really, I mean, sometimes I'm itching to get there in the morning.
Nice.
I always tell my wife I love Mondays.
Oh, man, that's so awesome, bro. Wow.
I love Mondays because Mondays get to try a new technique or
Yeah.
some new thing you've been wanting to. You read about or something you saw on YouTube.
I'm jealous, bro. I wish I had a job like that.
Yeah.
Golly, man, that's awesome, dude. So have you ever had you've always been in the music industry?
Yeah.
Have you ever had just a regular job?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, but it was still music related. Probably where everybody might know me from is Guitar Center.
Okay.
So I was a pro audio guy there for over a decade.
I think that's where I met you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met you there.
So if you're in Corpus or South Texas and you had a studio, the odds are I probably sold it to you.
Yeah, most likely.
Most likely, So I did get to see a lot of guys, start up and, become people, become actual producers and stuff. And some other guys that just did it and it wasn't for them. And
Yeah. Did you buy some kind of?
All kinds of stuff, dude.
Yeah.
I think my KRKs, my M Audio keyboards,
there you go.
interfaces, all kinds of stuff. And I would just walk in and talk to him, and he'd be like, "Hey, check this out today."
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great gig too, dude. I mean, and for a while there, shout out to Guitar Center and all the crew at Guitar Center.
Yeah.
They were really cool with me because I was like, "Hey, dude, I'm gonna do this thing at Freddie Records," and they're oh, that's awesome, da. They were like, "Can you still work?" And I was like, "It's kind of like full time." And they were like, "Dude, we'll take you anytime you can work." And I was like, maybe Sundays, after church, I can come. They were like, "Perfect." So for a while there, I was still doing Freddie Records and Guitar Center, but just on Sunday. So my clients knew Sunday was the day,
Wow.
and they would all go. And a lot of times it wasn't to sell. It was just like a lot of guys wanted to go tell me, hey, watch out, this is what we did this past week, and we played here, da-da-da-da-da.
Wow.
And what you told me about this worked. And this other thing, that didn't work. So we would talk shop a lot, but eventually it got to the point where I just couldn't do it anymore. And I was like, all right, it's one or the other. So I went over there. But I do miss Guitar Center. It's seeing the new gear come in. I mean, that
was the big thing, right? Like,
yeah.
You're like, oh, look at this new turntable. Look at these new speakers. Look at these new interfaces. Like, oh, man.
And getting to try it, as soon as or you know how it is, you see it in a catalog and you're like, oh, I can't wait till it shows up.
Wow.
And then it shows up and you're like, let me set it up.
Yeah.
Bro, let me try this out. And so, so I did that, and, the rest is history, I guess.
Yeah, that's nice. So Freddie Records, man, it just makes me think about Guitar Center because Jacob loves equipment.
Yeah.
And y'all study it more than I do because I just plug and play, and
Yeah.
you guys seems like you get like really into like the terminology or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
No, I love it, man. I've been around it since I was younger too. So I started way back in the day, but I think the thing that would drive me to Guitar Center was Eli, because the only time I would go was to talk to him.
Wow.
Any other time I needed anything else, I'm going to Sound Vibes, bro. Like, Sound Vibes is my spot. You know what I mean? I need a guitar, amp, whatever, pedals. I'm going to Sound Vibes. But if I need pro audio, I'm going to go talk to Eli.
Yeah, I had
No
a lot of guys.
disrespect,
Dude, I had a lot of guys that would just come in just to shoot the shit and just to hey, and they would bring me a lot of projects. And they would show it to me. Hey, what do you think? Da-da-da, and this and that. And we kind of, give each other tips and stuff. But it was a lot of that, really,
So it was kind of like helping each other.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
All the time. Or, hey, sometimes it would be, hey, I lost a bass player, bro. Do you know anybody?
Oh, wow.
And I'd be like, well, I heard, because you hear all the gossip there. I heard so-and-so left, da-da-da. And so he might be available. And so give him a call and...
We got Maya back there agreeing to what we're saying.
Yeah.
So he knows what's up. That's awesome, man. Yeah. So what was your first piece of equipment you've ever bought? Like for
well, I guess the first thing I ever got was like a piano. My parents bought me a piano. I was taking piano lessons. No, like an actual real piano.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when I was a kid, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Because I took piano lessons, so that was
okay.
my first thing I would learn piano and stuff. But my very first like where I would say my first real thing was I actually got a keyboard that I can sequence on.
Okay.
And the first one I borrowed it. And it was really like that's what I cut my teeth on, and I figured out how to work it and so eventually I could afford to buy one, and I went and got one, and man, Yamaha financing screwed me.
oh
37%
yeah, but
interest.
when you're a kid and and you're 18, 19, and any credit you get,
Yeah.
So I mean, the keyboard was like $2-3 grand, dude. By the time I was done paying it, I must have paid like 10 grand for that thing. I think it took me like 10 years to pay it off.
That's a small car, bro.
Yeah, I think it was
Wow.
I think they charged me like the most they could legally charge you in interest.
Whenever they bring up your credit score, they're like, man, he must have bought a car or something for that.
But that was like my one, and with that really got me a lot of work. I mean, it's like if you want to be a welder and you finally got a welding machine.
Yeah.
Or if you wanted to, do backhoe work and you finally got a backhoe machine. Mm-hmm. So it was like my first legitimate piece of gear.
So it got you a lot of work because you played or because the sequencing
Well,
aspect?
everything.
Oh, okay.
Everything. So it was like, hey, I have this idea, but I don't have a band, and I kind of want to put something together. So on those keyboards, you had everything. You had drums, you had basses,
Right.
you had
Oh.
synths. So you could kind of build it there for them and stuff. So that was. I remember I would work on it, fall asleep at the keyboard, wake up, keep working, and
Yeah.
And then from there, when the natural progression, then I got recording gear and mics and
Was it Tejano music or what kind of music were you?
At that point, I was still in college, so I was doing anything, any kind of music. A lot of times it was actually college work. It was like a lot of guys that were like, hey, I need to write a fugue for like for my final,
my dissertation,
for my final or whatever. So I'd be like, well, bring it in, dude. What do you have so far? And he'd show it to me, and I'd be like, well, let's start sequencing it. And we would start sequencing it. Okay, well, this part, and we'd try to make corrections and whatever, and they'd pass you some bucks,
Dang.
So whatever, whatever it took just to, pay the bills and stuff.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
But back then, I mean, this is a long time ago. So when I left high school, believe it or not, I bought a little travel trailer. That's what I lived in, And the plot where I lived was $85 a month.
Mm-hmm.
$85
a month.
Dang.
So all I had to do was make $85.
He's like, that's all I need, bro.
That's all I need. It wasn't hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of rent. So, dude, I would pick up any gig I could, and
That's pretty cool.
yeah, I mean,
So
you did what you had to.
So you were dead set on doing music and doing that.
Oh yeah,
that was.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It wasn't like the best strategy. I mean, in hindsight, now when I look back, I mean, I was kind of pigheaded about it. I really should have given myself a break, but I was like, no, if it's not in music, I'm not gonna do it because this is what I do, and I think it was a lot of needless suffering.
All right.
We'll
get you in a second. Yeah.
But I wouldn't advise it for anyone,
Yeah.
to just make it just trying to do that one thing that you love, that was a very hard road.
It was I wanted to go into it too. I was 18, just graduated high school, and my mom was like, I want to send you to LA to go, do recording professionally. And I was like, man, that's too far away from my girlfriend, so I think I'm gonna stay here. Which at the time was my girlfriend, but now she's my wife, and we've been together for almost 20 years. So I mean,
it was the right.
It was kind of the right choice. But
three kids later,
yeah,
too.
three kids later, right? But I do still to this day. I record music. I do all the same stuff. But I don't think I would have been where I'm at today if I would have left to go do so. Like you wouldn't be where you are if you would have been like, hey, I can't make it. I'm gonna go be a welder.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
we'll go work at Walmart.
I'm being a reader.
And a lot of people want your spot too. You know what I mean? And to be able to have that perspective, I'm good where I'm at. You know what I mean? It's pretty cool to see that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's awesome, man.
But it was a hard road. I mean, I want to stress that to anyone who's trying to do what I've done or whatever, or some of my friends have been able to accomplish. It was really hard. I mean, now if I could do it all over again, I would have tried to not get my dream to fund everything. That's just too hard, dude.
Yeah.
It's too hard to try to make your dream happen and then get that to fund everything else in your life.
Yeah.
That's too hard.
That's
I would have much rather have gone to a trade school, go make chingles of money in a year or two, and then build a badass studio than to do it the way I did it. But I mean, back then in the '90s, who knew?
90s. Wow.
The internet was just barely starting.
Yeah.
It wasn't nothing like it is today.
You had dial up.
Yeah.
So I always had to back in my day.
Back in my day, is it?
No, honestly, even I feel like I'm not very old, but I'm 35 and I still see the kids now, and I'm like, man, y'all got it so easy compared to what we had. You know what I mean? So
you don't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that you see now compared to what you had to work with as far as?
Oh man, just to being able to work with people from all over the world, send files back and forth. The technology now is, man, it's so awesome. You don't need a badass drummer. You can get superior drummer, easy drummer, throw down ideas really, really quick. When back in the day, you had to go get a drum kit.
Yeah.
Mic it, learn how to mic it, buy the mics, get them board and mix it and all kinds of stuff. And now you can get to the end result so quickly. It's not like it used to be. And
yeah, within a matter of couple minutes of downloads and a little YouTube tutorial, you could really do a lot. Whereas compared to, let's say 20, 30 years ago, it would have been a full session with a full band. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's crazy to think about, but
yeah, I remember the very first time I ever got a CD master. like a CD master. I mean, nowadays you pay cents or you don't even use CDs. I remember the first blank CD I ever bought was $50
Oh man.
for a blank
CD?
For a blank CD that you could record on.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, $50.
Yeah, we used to buy them in towers, and the tower was like usually like I think like 30, $40.
About that same amount.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for one. It was so
And now they're worth
progressively it got
fractions of a penny.
Now it's like
Nobody
nothing.
uses them anymore.
Yeah,
Hardly
nobody.
It's
uses
all
them.
They're
digital.
pretty much obsolete. You
Yeah.
know,
There's no reason to use it. So
Reasons. We're just joking about Reason from Propeller Head.
So do you use Reason?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, you pretty much have to stay up on all the programs, you know, if you want to stay in the market working. So, yeah, I'm still Pro Tools and Logic and Ableton and Reason and
So
Cubase.
you learn them
and-
all. So
You have to really. I mean, if you want to stay, you know, busy, because not every guy has the same platform. And you really shut a lot of doors when you say, no, but I don't work on that program.
yeah, like somebody walks in and they're like, "You're not using Pro Tools," and you're gonna be like, "I don't know how to use that." They're gonna look at you like,
You
you should.
Yeah.
It's the industry standard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess you could turn away work, or people would be unwilling to work with you if you were like, "Oh, I don't work on that program."
So it's like a tool belt, like it's a standard tool belt that all engineers should be.
I mean, you try. I mean, I know it's almost impossible because it's a little different when you got that guy looking over your shoulder who's paying you a lot of money to do work for him. You also can't be like trying to figure it out, especially if you just jumped into a new program.
Oh, no.
You know, because they're not. And I see it from their side too, because you know it's money and they save up to this kind of stuff. So sometimes you do have to rely on your main one.
Yeah.
But you do have to at least know a little bit from these other programs so you can navigate them. Or especially when they say, oh, I did it on this. And just at least know knowledge, okay, I know how to get into that program, extract the files,
Yeah.
get them all out, and bring them into my system, and now we can keep working.
Right.
Then instead of saying, oh, man, nope, I don't know.
If you extract them to put it into a different program, does it always translate easily, or you have to make some changes?
Not necessarily. You can kind of... You have to talk to the guy and be like, hey, dude, do you want me to just bring the raw files over and let me work from there on out? Or do you want to keep all the work you've done? All the EQing, all the compression, everything that you've done, I can also bring that over. And then we can start from there. Sometimes they'll be like, just take the raw files and I want to hear your sound.
Oh,
So, bring the raw files over and then we'll start from there. But sometimes some guys are really good. And I'll tell them, nah, dude. What you got there is awesome already. Let's start with that.
Yeah.
And bring it over, and then we'll start from there and start building.
Wow, that's awesome. So you mix it, or what do you call it? What do you do? Like
Engineering.
So engineering, like you put
Oh,
sounds
dude.
together. Like what is it exactly?
It's a hodgepodge of everything.
Okay.
So some of the bands now that I've had good relationships with over a lot of years, they do like the pre-production at home already. So they bring basically an outline or like the rough draft of what the album would be. So we start with that. On some of the other ones, the guys just come up with a concept. And then you have to literally start from scratch of, okay, do you have 10 songs? No, I have 5. All right, or let's start with those. Or, I tell them what's our end result. So once we get that and we get it kind of our ducks in a row, then we start with the first rough draft of the album. And a lot of times that first rough draft, nothing stays. But it's like when you're building a house, you make that initial blueprint.
Yeah.
So you start laying down your drums and your bass and your guitar and all that kind of stuff. And that's where you start figuring out, hey, dude, 6-minute song ain't going to work. So let's cut this part out. Or we're taking too long to get to the hook. Let's move this over here, or have you considered starting with this and da-da-da. And you kind of get a good rough draft of what you want to do. Sometimes I even go in there and start time aligning a lot of that stuff, getting it real tight. All right, now let's build the album. Now that we have it down. And then you start recording real drums, the keeper stuff that's going to make it to the final album. Record all that, and then you jump back in there. Now you start editing it.
Wow.
Editing it.
So
Pitch correction, time alignment, phase alignment, and
Yeah.
keeps going.
Wow. So it's not just recording so it's not they come in, they have a song and record the song. Okay, record the song. You're like actually messing with the song.
Oh
itself.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, every project is different.
Okay.
For some projects, I mean, you're kind of the producer because there's nobody there at the helm, so you kind of have to kind of step in because you also don't want to have them spend all that money and just be like, well, you should have known better. Nah, you can't be like that either.
Yeah.
You have to step in and be like, okay, dude, for what you're trying to do and your budget that's allowed, the best way to get to the end result is if we do this.
So you got to have a counseling session with a light of
Oh
camera
yeah,
and all that stuff.
dude. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I've recorded people that were not up to snuff, and I'm like, I think you should practice this before we start recording again, just so we don't waste both of our times. But I have also been on the other end where I get somebody that comes in and they get it in like 2 takes, and I'm like, wow, that was crazy.
yeah, dude.
You gotta counsel them through that.
There's a whole lot of counseling.
Okay.
Whole lot of counseling.
I was joking about that, but you're being for real about it.
No,
Okay,
for real, dude, for real. There's some. I mean, I'm not necessarily Freddie Records, but other studios I worked at or other people that hire me privately and I work on their albums and stuff. Some of those, it's a head thing, and sometimes you gotta talk to them, and be like, hey, dude, what are we trying to do here? And some guys don't want hits. They want to leave some kind of legacy behind. So those kind of projects you approach different. You're not now. I'm not imposing anything now. Hey, if it came out a certain way, and I might be like, hey, dude, it's a little loosey goosey in these little sections, and they might not see it like that. They're seeing, no, dude, I was feeling it that way, and they're not trying to make the top of the charts. What they want is a good quality recording that they can show, their family members, and that they can, archive.
Wow. So are these people like with labels, or do they have their own label?
No,
or?
some of the other guys, like I don't want to call them my high-end clients or high-end clients. Some of those guys, and some of them honestly are not even musicians. Sometimes some of the work I'm brought into has nothing to do with music. It's other stuff that's outside of the world of music. But what they want is high-quality work. So I'll go in, but we still follow the same process of, what's the end result? What are we trying to do? Some of the jazz guys, especially, there's some couple great jazz musicians here in town, and they have fabulous setups at their house. And I'll go and I engineer there, and there's a different kind of recording because you're there to really, in true essence, record. You're there to preserve these 5 minutes that are gonna happen.
Yeah.
And the solo that trumpet player is going to play and the solo the sax player is going to play and this and that, they're never going to want to go back and overdub that. Whatever happens at that moment is what's going to happen at that moment, and that's what they want. So, but then there's other projects that are not music where they just need for it to sound whatever, so they'll hire me for those, and those are like more of the kind of strange events. Sometimes they're political events, or sometimes they're like not recently, maybe about a year or two ago, they changed presidents at the university, and they had there's a ceremony that they do, and it's like a ceremony, like this. I don't know. It's weird. It's for me, who's a musician, but. They brought me in because they needed for it to sound immaculate, So that's not even recording. I'm there for live, and I'm there behind the console making sure that everything flows good and stuff like that. Or I've been to other stuff like dissertations, where they're literally recording evidence, and they're like, "We're gonna get one shot at this. The person's gonna come in and they're gonna say." What happened, blah, 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 da, da, da. We need to make sure that it gets recorded at a very pristine level. And, that has nothing to do with music.
Yeah.
They just want high quality. And
What do you think about all this, Jake?
No, that's pretty crazy. Like from going from just music to recording to all the way to, like you said, dissertations and legal stuff and political events. Just going through that whole spectrum of I guess, sound and audio engineering.
Yeah.
It's not just music, to think about it that way.
Nice.
And you know what's a good check is fun when they make you sign the non-disclosure agreements right when you show up.
Oh, well.
They're like, sign this. I'm like, ooh, it's gonna be a good payday. This is a good check.
Here comes my check.
Here comes my check. Or you know, I've done some stuff at the bases. You know, and the bases are like high security, and I walk in and stuff, and they'll run the mirrors under your truck and stuff, and I'm like, damn, what's going on?
What's going on here?
Who's coming in?
So how do you get those gigs? Like, do they call Freddie Records? Do they call you?
Oh no,
or-
that's stuff that they just call me directly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they'll tell, hey, we're gonna have blah blah blah, and are you available? And I'll be like, yeah. And once I get there, they kind of tell me, you know, what's going on. But like even some of those are a little strange because I was working with this one group, and they were all pilots. They were like literally all pilots.
Yeah.
And they would call, hey, okay, we're gonna have rehearsal or whatever. I'd be like, cool, okay, whatever. What time? Whatever. Okay, yeah, I'll be there. All right, well, I'm gonna borrow a jet, and homeboy's gonna borrow a jet, and the other homeboy's gonna borrow a jet, and we're gonna fly in, and we'll meet you there, and then we'll fly back out. And I'm like, for real? Okay.
You're like,
And
I'll
I'll
show up
go
on a
in.
bicycle.
Yeah, I show up in my truck, all badass. And then sure enough, they'll fly in, and they did like a rehearsal and blah blah blah, and then they fly by, and then they'll say stuff like, "Yeah, we had to burn that gas anyway because the gas goes bad." Me and the bass player from that band were talking, "For real, gas goes bad." So much gas goes bad, you gotta burn it up with these jets.
Really.
So yeah, dude. I mean, this world of audio stuff. I mean, you get all kinds of craziness. You know, outside of Freddie Records.
Outside of Freddie Records, wow.
Yeah.
Man, so you get into how did you get into Freddie Records? You spent there 7 years, right? Or?
As a matter of fact, I was a Guitar Center, and the engineers would always come in, and you know they would always buy gear from us and stuff, and every now and then they would be like, "Man, I'm getting kind of tired of this," and because you know it's a hard job, you know, you work a lot of hours, and then another guy would come in, and years would go on, and they would always tell me, "You should go check it out," and I was like, "I don't know, maybe." And then one day I was like, okay. One guy told me, hey, you know, Joe Reveles, great keyboard player. He was like, hey, man, why don't you come on by? I went by and I met him, met the staff, and they were like, hey, man, you want to come on board? And I was like, yeah, I'd love to.
Wow, that's
And
awesome.
then from day one, it was just like, we started working.
Nice.
And the staff there is awesome. It's Mariano Herrera, Ram, Serna, and myself. We're the 3 engineers. And we pretty much record everything that goes through there.
Awesome. And that's awesome. So it's mostly what Tejano, like
Yeah,
South, okay.
the main bread and butter of it is Mexican regional,
Okay.
but we do get a lot of walk-ins, a lot of guys that, like I was joking when he was like, "What did you do today?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Today it was Italian operas." Somebody came in and they needed to, which is weird because right before that client, I had another client who also had come in to do some operatic stuff. So I don't know if maybe there's a contest about to happen or I don't know what. But yeah. And as a matter of fact, this is the 3rd session with this one artist. And I mean, that one even though I have a background in music, you know, I studied music and I have my degree in it. I mean, I don't know Italian. So it's all Italian. So I'm just kind of like, you're going to punch you in where? What word?
Is that word right?
I don't even know if you're saying it right or not. So yeah, we do get all kinds. And then, of course, we do get the non-music stuff. We have also been doing podcasts.
Really?
People come in and they want to, you know, just rent out the studio for podcasts.
Oh, that's interesting.
And we do the same thing. Set up mics like this. Except we don't do the video stuff.
Yeah.
You know, we just do audio.
It's just audio.
And then turn it in. And some of that stuff, they edit it on themselves. They just really just capture then.
Like raw audio?
Yeah,
Like
raw
really?
audio.
Yeah.
We had one recently that the guy was like, I thought it was gonna be about kayaks because that's what I understood. He was like, yeah, kayak. I was like, all right, well, that's cool, kayaks. It was kayak.com.
Oh.
So they were talking about travel.
Yeah.
And I was like, these guys never talk about kayaks.
No, one time.
Not one time did they mention kayaks.
Wow. So man, so recording opera singer, like the mic had to be far away, like.
Oh, dude, we tried all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I told her, I was like, look, because she showed me some recordings of what she was kind of going for. And I was like, well, a lot of that stuff was probably done at a big amphitheater, and we just don't have a hall with a 100-seat hall that I can throw them in, and we can capture the ambience. So we tried a couple of different mic techniques. We tried one mic here, some distance away, and and kind of worked it out to where she was happy with it, and we just kept going from there.
So the singer, y'all had she had an accompaniment? Was it? Did you?
She brought it in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she brought it in. So gave it to me on a thumb drive, popped it in.
Nice.
And she sang through it. Sounded great.
Yeah, that's awesome. So
was it like hers, or was it like an arrangement that was already?
No,
covering?
it was one was a handle piece.
Oh, okay.
And the other one was man, I can't remember the other composer, but they were both classical composers.
I know some of these words.
Yeah.
Classical, yeah, definitely.
So it was a lot of fun.
No,
and
cool.
and you learn. I mean, I'm all about learning.
Yeah.
So every day try to learn something new, and hey, that was something new.
That's awesome. So how many hours like do you work? Do you work like early in the morning to late at night, or just depends? Or
it depends. When we get some bands that come in and like they book the week, then I personally try to do like 12 hours, and I try to do like 10 to 10 or noon to midnight, and we try to like stay on track, like do so many hours, take a break, do so many hours, take a lunch, do so many hours, take a dinner break, do so many hours, and then we're that's 12 hours.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then after that, I have to tell them, okay, dude, go get rest. Don't go to the maquinitas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't go party. Don't, because tomorrow we're gonna hit it hard. And we hit it hard, dude. I mean, poor guys. I mean, some of those bands. I mean, we work really hard. I mean, I can tell they're tired. When they leave.
So were you into that type of music before you were recording?
Oh, absolutely,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, I'm Mexican, bro.
You'd be surprised, bro. Like
No, as a matter of fact, when I first got there, one of the things I wanted to see is because there's a lot of classic albums that came out of there. So I was really like asking, okay, this particular album, who did it? Oh, so-and-so. So I literally go with, hey, bro, you really did that album?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I worked on that album. And, like there's like the old actual cover of the album and stuff. Like you've seen the traditional one, but you never saw like the photos that never got used.
Oh yeah.
So sometimes you'll see them like thrown around. And you're like, hey, dude, I guess this is the one they didn't use. So.
Yeah, that's cool.
So there's a lot of legacy there that I do enjoy.
yeah, that's awesome.
Talking shop to the old guys there, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you're an engineer, do you have to like the music, or how do you do it if you don't like the music? Like,
It's rare that I don't like the music. For the most part, I mean, I don't think I've had a project that I didn't enjoy.
I mean, honestly, I've talked to you about all kinds of music, from like Tool to like Dream Theater, and then we go to like Tejano, and then we'll talk about, I don't know, Primus.
Yeah, Primus.
You know what I mean? So I know you're like super eclectic and you like all kinds of music.
Yeah, we were
so.
mad at one of the other guys that had never heard about Primus. We're like, come on, bro.
Yeah, I was on Jerry was a race driver.
Les Claypool, you got to know him at least,
Yeah. So
Fabulous bass player.
yeah, my name is Mud. That's how I get introduced.
my name
to
is
them.
Bud.
And it was like, and I think in the 90s it was like a popular song, so that's how I heard about him.
Well, now I've been watching was it Bass Players Are Human Too, that new Geddy Lee show?
Oh, really?
I think it's like on Paramount or something. So he has like a different bass player
Wow.
every week, and week one was Les Claypool, and then I think he had Trujillo, and then some other people on there. So.
Yeah, who was it? Metallica was saying that he was too good to join their band or something or other.
Yeah, he was like
that?
he was like he's a better guitar player than and then
He did,
everybody
yeah.
else in the band. I was
He was
like,
too good. He couldn't join the band.
yeah.
Awesome.
Jacob and I were in a few bands together.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, we're in a few bands together. I played bass and guitar mostly, and drum. This dude does it
Yeah.
all. Like I showed him a few chords a while back, and then he just ran with it. Like got way better than I did at soloing and stuff like that. And I'd like to tell people I know more of like the theory aspect of it rather
Definitely.
than soloing. So I love music theory, and I can just look at a piece and like, I nerd out on it.
Oh, dude.
I totally can't do that, dude. I'll be like, what chord are you playing right there? A minor? Got you, bro.
Yeah, A, C, E, add the seventh if you want.
Yeah,
G
I
on there
got
if you
all
want to.
those. But
Have
once
you tried a 9? No. He's
once you
like,
try
I don't
to
know.
like tell me how to read it, I'm like, just play it for me, bro. Let me hear it. Let me hear what you're playing, and I'll go off of it.
Do you ever have to like read music in those settings, or?
Oh yeah, there's some times, yeah, especially if I do anything like especially like for the universities, like sometimes they'll ask me to record something, they're bringing a certain orchestra or whatever, but they'll give you the score.
Oh.
So you put the score on the board and you're like following it, and you're like, okay, a flute solo, where's the flute? You're like, okay, you raise it and then you're following it.
Oh,
And then,
wow. I never really thought about it like that.
Yeah, or like jazz ones, because like they do a lot of big, especially like A&M Kingsville. They had hired me there probably for over a decade doing all their big jazz shows. So with there, dude, I got to see like, if you're into jazz, I got to see and work with like from Doc Severinsen to Eric Marenthal, Paquito Rivera. I mean, all kinds of, and that's awesome because, I mean, Doc Severinsen, I mean, he was the head of the NBC Orchestra for like 30 years. So there's like nobody you can possibly mention that guy didn't work with personally. Yeah. And he had so many stories, and it was awesome, really. But anyway, they would actually give you the charts.
That's cool.
And you have to follow along. And
I see sometimes because he plays for us sometimes, and I'll be like, hey, did you learn that little piano piece in the beginning of that song? And he's like, yeah, I got it written out right here, and it's in this little.
Yeah, I'll be like, there's no way I'm gonna remember it. I'm too old.
But I'll write it down.
I'll write it down. I'll read
And
it.
in me, I can't do that. I gotta like actually remember it because I'll write it down and I'll be like, dang, what was that? What note is that right there? That's a C sharp. No, not gonna go here.
It makes me think of that guy that had brain surgery and he was playing his sax or whatever. If you were getting brain surgery, you wouldn't be playing an instrument. You'd be writing it down.
Write it down.
Y'all go to the 7th.
Yeah, dude, I love theory. Theory is one of my. It's just like the why of music, and yeah, dude, I love all that stuff. I mean, I took form analysis and all that in college, and that was crazy. Breaking down big old classical pieces, and by the time you were done, it looked like hieroglyphs because you had to literally put every single number underneath every single chord, and every single transition, and cadences, and all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, theory's awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
I recommend to everybody to out there, if you really want to get good at this, get into some theory.
Yeah,
really try to understand
any instrument
it.
you want to learn theory with it, because probably the biggest hindrance for me was theory was my roadblock, and until I understood it, I never really got past being able to play like progressively, like just on a whim. You know what I mean? Yeah. Freestyling is way harder when you don't know what you're doing than if you knew the theory behind it.
But there are, yes, I agree. And there are a lot of good musicians that don't know theory.
Yeah.
And what I like to tell musicians is like, it's just going to up your game.
Yeah.
I mean, you're already good. It's just going to make you better.
Yeah, and a lot of times you're not really going to follow the theory because a lot of times you want to learn the theory so that you can break the theory to be cool. I mean, that's the whole reason you learn theory,
Jazz is like, what theory?
Right? You just throw everything out the window.
B-knuckle 7.
B-knuckle 7.
Yeah, jazz theory. Oh man, it makes me upset because it's not like classical theory at all. It's just totally different, and you got to learn the different keys. I'm like, man, and all I can do is listen to it. I could try to play it, but I just can't follow it.
I can't either. I'm gonna borrow this chord from the neighbor that was like 3 houses down, but I'm also gonna add the third from the neighbor that was on the other side, and I'm like, nah, that's not gonna work for me.
Dude, get yourself a fake book, like the old jazz fake books, and if you want to learn theory, sink your teeth into one of those, and it's gonna have like 500-600 jazz standards. Oh my god! And really, dude, that's the best way to learn theory because you're gonna see so many songs that you already know. You're gonna know the melodies. You're gonna know all the old classics. Of Somewhere Over the Rainbow and All of Me and Autumn Leaves and all that stuff. But once you finally see like the theory behind it, you're like, oh. And you always have the same result. Once you finally learn, you're like, huh.
Yeah.
So that's what that was.
Got it.
Yeah.
Nice, man. So you have Freddie Records. Wow, that's awesome. So you plan to be there for longer, or what's?
Yeah,
what's
I
the
mean,
plan
I always tell my wife, that's my last job.
I'm not going
I'm gonna stay there. I mean, I like it. I love it. I mean, it's everything that I wanted as far as, you know, getting up and you enjoy what you're doing and
Yeah, that's
you know,
awesome.
you love the end result. But the other stuff will always continue, like the writing and the composing. I mean, I've done stuff for TV now for over 10 years, and that I'll probably also do for the rest of my life. Just keep writing.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. We're talking about this. It makes me think about the ADAT, whatever it was called. I remember when we did a recording, like one of my bands a long time ago, we had to get one of those. And it was like, what, $3,000 or something like that?
The machines, yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
But so we had to get that. I'm like, what do we got to get this for? Well, we need this to record.
Yeah.
So is that amount of like, what do you see like they're different from having that to what you're using now?
Oh yeah, it's real different. I went through the whole evolution of it. I started off with reel to reel, and then I tried every hybrid in between, and then eventually I went to ADATs, and I had the black faces, and then I went to the Type 2s, and then the DA88s, and then eventually I landed on Pro Tools around 99, 2000, and once I landed on Pro Tools, I stayed there. But yeah, man, ADATs and all that was like the standard. I remember I got my first ADAT machine, and then I got my second one. I was like, ooh, 16 tracks. And then I got my third one, 24 tracks.
Yeah,
and I got my fourth one. And then I was learning, like, okay, one's my master, the other one's sync up, but my overdubs, so I was popping tapes out and putting them in and formatting them and all kinds of stuff. And, I mean, I paid thousands of dollars for them, but now, like, you look at them on eBay, they're like $10.
Yeah.
You know,
It's the same with a lot of old technology, though. It's not just recording. Like anything you bought back in the day that was super expensive. Like look at computers back in the late 80s, early 90s. They were super expensive, and now they're like junk. You know
And it's gonna keep getting like that. Seems like it.
Yeah. So it's like you're always gonna buy the new thing, no matter what the cost, and then 10, 20 years later, it's going to be worth nothing, almost anyways. Unless you got, like, vintage equipment, which, like, soundboards or what else would it...
Yeah, if you have, like, a reel-to-reel machine, and that's what you're, like, actually capturing on, and you're not doing high-end edits, and you're just, like, you're just there to archive 30 minutes of time. Yeah, reel-to-reel is awesome. Mm-hmm. It's warm, and it's just non-forgiving, though.
So really, yeah, we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, with a grease pen and having to slice with an actual razor. I mean, you can't mess up there. I mean, you can, but you get fired.
You get fired.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh man,
But yeah, I wouldn't change for the technology now. I mean, it's heaven sent. I mean, for real.
Everything's at your fingertips, right?
Yeah.
Like we were talking about earlier. I was like, you need a bass player. At $2.99, you get a plug-in and play bass for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just tap it on the keyboard.
Just tap it on the keyboard, or even just with your mouse, just put the MIDI notes in. You know what I mean?
Then the amount of editing you can do now is unparalleled. I mean, you couldn't do stuff that you can do now 20 years ago.
There's no way. Yeah.
No way.
Wow. So, do the artists that come to you, do they ever put their stuff on like on their own, like to DistroKid or?
Yeah. I mean, we get all kinds of clients. So some people just record there and they put it out on their own, and then there's the ones that are in house that are distributed through the record label.
So say I take a song to you, like you're able to like mix it. I don't know what that is. So mix and master.
Yeah,
what is that?
it depends. Like if you bring me like the actual session where everything is separated, and I have the ability to like raise the drums and lower the drums and stuff, then I can mix it. But if it's like the end product and you bring that to me, there's not really much. I can do small enhancements,
right?
But I can't like redo it. I can't unbake the cake.
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
So you mess with the hertz, what is it, the hertz or whatever can go only, you'll go up to, so what I'm thinking of that little,
like frequencies and stuff.
it's like a frequency.
No, you're talking about like your compression level, like you can only go so high.
Yeah, because I was like, I want to put it on, I want to send it out myself, you know what I mean? But I want to, and some places were saying, well, you got to have like so much hertz on the entire level, and then on each track to make sure that it doesn't go past a certain. I'm not sure what it's called.
Yeah, there's like a standard that you want to meet. And yeah, there's debates on that of
Okay,
where you want to be at, because now it's so different from when you put something on YouTube, when you put something on Spotify, when you put something on Deezer, you put something on all these different distributions. So because I used to just go all the way to 0. Wow.
Yeah, just slam
Slam it, because that's
Yeah.
as loud as you can possibly get without distortion.
Yeah.
But then certain people or certain places don't take it like that.
I think Spotify is one of the big ones that will not take your your submissions if they're too high, if they're too hot.
Yeah.
They have to come down.
So there is and is that what you do? Like, it's part of what you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
At the very end, when you finally finish it and you turn it in, it has to be at a certain level.
No, okay.
So
Yeah.
it changes though,
Mm-hmm.
because we have had it where it was like, okay, from now on out we're gonna do it this level, and it is not a lot. It's just small increments, but we make small adjustments to satisfy pretty much all the palettes as far as the distributions.
Awesome. Yeah, I started getting into that a little bit. I was like making beats or whatever. And I was like, man, I can't. This is weird. I don't even know what I'm doing. So I'm trying to figure out how to do it and stuff like that. So that's interesting how it changes all the time on you.
Yeah, even the world of beat making has changed so much, man. It used to be where somebody would hire you to do the beats and you'd make it for them, but now you can just make beats and just put them out.
Yeah, just put them
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I just throw them online. And if somebody buys them, somebody buys them. If they don't, they don't.
You can like if you have content, you can share. You can use it on your content, like on Instagram and stuff too.
Yeah.
I think, or even YouTube. Or it's pretty cool.
I've bought in like sample packs. That's funny you say that. I've bought in sample packs from somebody before, and it was actually a big name company. And then I made a beat with it, and my stuff got copyrighted because that sample had actually been used in somebody else's like thing that had been copyrighted. And I was like, well, that's not cool because I paid for the ownership of that. So I was like, well, now I would have to go fight it and be like, these are my credentials. This is where I bought it from.
I was thinking that too. I was like, well, then at that case, you just have to type out the stuff.
So you were
yourself.
saying like you can use your own stuff that you make, which mostly is the case, but I have gotten striked before because it was like, oh, this is owned by somebody else. Yeah.
Wow. So do you put out your own music or?
Mainly any efforts that I do now, just do the film stuff.
Oh, film
or TV shows. So it used to be where I would get like assignments, but now it's now pretty much anything I write they'll just take, which that within its own is its own blessing.
Yeah, dude.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is awesome, man. So is it like scores, like like is it a full orchestra that you write out, or what is it?
It's everything. Sometimes they'll say specifically. Well, at the beginning they say specifically, hey, I need like a bluesy thing, or I need like a hip hop thing, and then I started getting really really awkward jobs like Welsh music, which I was like I didn't know anything about Welsh music. I didn't know anything about Celtic music. I didn't know anything about Russian music.
Yeah.
But they would be like, hey, dude, nobody else can do this. Can you write it for us? I need it in 2 hours.
Whoa.
So I'd be like, hold on. And I'd like look it up on YouTube and be like, okay, this kind of does this and does that. Okay, all right.
And this is where your theory comes in, right?
Yeah,
Like,
and I'd be like,
I
okay,
know.
let me dish something out real quick and I'll send it to you. Then you tell me what you think. And so I'd work up something, send it to them, and they'd be like, yeah, I'm going to send it in, blah, blah, blah. And then, boom, check in the mail.
No.
And then eventually, now it's gotten to the point to where now I just look at my BMI stuff and I'm like, interesting. I had
BMI stuff. What is that?
like that's the people that collect my money for me from all the shows and stuff. But they have to tell you like what show is using it. So I'll get like American Pickers or Say Yes to the Dress or Hardcore Pawn or Bait Car.
Who's using?
All
that
these
audio?
different TV shows that are using them, and then I just get the check.
Yeah.
You know.
Nice.
So I don't even know how they get them.
Oh wow.
You know, recently I got a WWE one, I got a NASCAR one, you know, and then weird Spanish ones like La Voz Kids,
Yeah.
some Telemundo stuff, and
So are you your own label, or like how do you
No,
how do they pick it up? You know.
well,
like-
that was a kind of a long road because I first signed with one music publisher maybe like 20 years ago, Prolific Arts out of Denton, Texas. And they were like, "Hey, just send us your catalog." So I sent them my catalog of all the stuff I had worked on, and they were getting me small little jobs, a job here on HBO, a job on Showtime or whatever. Not really doing much. And then after I finished their contract, I went with another one. I went with Editor's Choice Music. Signed with them for a while. They got me a couple of jobs here and there. But after that, I signed on with this one company called Jingle Punks out of Calabasas. And those guys, dude, boom, they were like, dun, 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 dun. It was like show after show after show after show. I mean, I guess those guys just hustled.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming now that those same dudes that got my music, I just think they were, I mean, I don't want to say this in a bad way. Maybe they were just lazy. But whatever new show they went to go work on, I think they just took the catalog with them. So I'm seeing like certain songs that got used over here, all of a sudden got used on this other show. And the only thing that I can see that's the bridging point is the producer must have gone from this show to that show and just took them over there with him and used them. And then, you know, I just get my royalties.
Come on, guys, we got to work harder at this. What's going on? We got a lot of musicians out here.
Hey, dude, Corpus is awesome for musicians, man. There's a lot of guys here that just little diamonds in the rough, dude. That I mean,
Yeah.
you know.
So what do those musicians have to do, like to I guess to make a living or like...
Well, you know what? Some of them are very comfortable where they're at, and I have this talk with them, and there's a couple of guys that I'll be like, dude, you deserve an album. I think you really should have something out there. They'll be like, nah, I'm cool with what I'm doing, and they don't really want that. You know, they're very comfortable with where they're at and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I still enjoy watching them, and when I have the time, I'll go out there and I'll see them, and I'll be like, man, you got chops, dude, and
Yeah.
you know, you're really doing something incredible. Why don't you? They don't push the issue, you know.
Another counseling session.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, you want to tell them, and they're like, for what? For what? So I have to take days off work to go do that? I'm like, I get it, dude. I get it. You know, it's not an easy road.
Sometimes you want it for them, but they don't want it for themselves. And
Yeah.
you just have to come to terms with it.
Yeah, sometimes you just, you know, you make your peace with it, and you just, you know,
Yeah.
Wow, that's
you
awesome.
move on to the next project.
So do you have any kids? Are they doing what you're doing?
No, just me and my wife and my little Chiweenie.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, Chiweenie, is it the same type of dog?
Yeah.
Or? Okay.
Yeah, my wife used to have a Chiweenie back in the day. He passed away.
He
a while
passed
back.
away.
But my wife's always been like, I want a new Chiweenie. I want a new Chiweenie. And I'm like, man, I don't want to put up with another dog right now.
Man, my name's Walter. We call him Walter. 'Cause, man, he's a little terror, dude.
Well, this dude's got chickens at his house.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got chickens. Yeah, I eat fresh eggs every day.
They're doing it over there, bro. For real. He making me want to get my own chickens, get my own farm over there at my house.
Yeah, we're gonna when spring hits, we're gonna start probably planting like tomatoes and jalapenos. And
That's
stuff.
awesome.
Yeah.
So we'll have our own like fresh vegetable garden.
Yeah.
My dad had a lot of chickens, and he would always complain. He was like, every day I gotta give a dozen or two away.
Yeah. If you got more than
There's too many.
Yeah, if you got more than like I would say like 5 to 10 chickens, you're probably gonna be giving a lot of that stuff away.
You put that. What did you put that post like? See, everything has soybean in it. Or,
Oh yeah, no, yeah, everything has sunflower oil in it. You know what I mean? And that's like conspiracy stuff. But I just try to stay away from certain foods. Like right now, I'm all carnivore, so I only eat nothing but meat, eggs, and cheese.
Seriously,
And
bro?
water. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I've
wow.
already. I was 315 at my biggest, and I'm already down to like 260.
Ah, congrats.
So, and that's just staying on carnivore, not eating processed foods. But the biggest thing is, you know, high fructose corn syrup, sunflower oil, and sugar are like in everything.
so
real.
you say it's a conspiracy?
It's people will be like, oh, you're not supposed to eat fat; it's bad for you. Whereas some doctors even will say, well, fat's actually really good for you. So people are like, oh, don't follow them. Be a vegan. Be this. Be that. Be whatever like works for you, man. But for me personally, carnivore has worked for me the best. So
And you like steaks? Do you like steaks too, right?
yeah, I eat like
Yeah.
like 4 steaks a week.
'Cause
Shrimp.
you love that diet, bro.
Yeah, no, it's good. So
That's cool, man. Yeah, I don't even think I'm in any kind of diet, really. I mean, I'm a truck driver. A lot of the food I eat is at truck stops, which
Oh man,
So I try to work out at least once a week, maybe twice a week if I can, or just to get some kind of exercise. Subway is like probably the best I can get out there. Sometimes it's like the store salad or whatever.
Yeah, you eat what you can, man, when you're on the road. So.
Yeah, and I guess the traditional way should be better, where you make your own stuff and pack it and take it and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what I do, dude. When we do shows, I always take my own.
He's always eating something too. He's like, hey, I got a lemon, or I'm always like, bro, you're always eating something.
I'm always eating.
It's just like at the Guitar Center. Oh, check out this new product I got. Check out.
Yeah, something for real.
So you're not going back to Guitar Center? Huh?
Nah, I mean, I miss it. I miss the customers a lot, because I made really good friends with a lot of people there, and I got to see them from, when they were still in high school.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, dude, don't skip school to come here, bro.
They didn't have nowhere to hang out.
Yeah, I was like, stay in school, bro. We're always gonna be here. And then seeing those guys, kind of get into music, and some of them pursued it, and some of them didn't.
Did some of the guys like in the drum department or guitar department ever be like, hey, I want to go over there because it's a lot quieter over there? Or how would it?
Well, it changed over the years. So a lot of times we didn't have like a drum guy. So you have to be covering different departments and stuff. Yeah. So you had to know a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But I could see, everyone. And a lot of times if any famous band came into town, a lot of times they would go there. So, you come back from lunch, you'd be like, that's Sergio from Maná. What is he doing there? Yeah. He's like, yeah, he's trying a guitar. Really? So you go over there, you'd be like, what are you doing here? He'd be like, oh yeah, we're playing. I was like, I know, but like, what are you doing at our guitar center? Like, you think that they would send like a tech or something?
Really, right?
But they're not. There's like the actual guys there.
Actual person.
Yeah, and he was like, he was like on every single amp, he tried everything, and I was like, dude, we've heard that song, bro.
No steroid.
Yeah. And then he actually had brought in like a couple of vintage guitars that he wanted to sell. And like we're already getting close to close. I was like, hey dude, like, I know you're like super famous and stuff, but like we're hungry, bro. We want to go home already.
That's crazy.
So we did get to see a lot of famous people that would come by here, and you had to ask them questions about their gear and their setup and what are you using. And sometimes they were really cool, and you could talk to them. What did you use on this album? And they would tell you, yeah, I use this pedal into this and blah blah blah.
So in your like experience in getting different jobs and stuff, did you know people to get that stuff, or did you like work your way into it? Or?
No, all of them were kind of flukes. Like literally, I went to Guitar Center one time, and I remember there was like one pro audio guy, and the manager was looking for somebody, and he was having trouble with his recording setup. So we were just talking shop, and he was like, I'm having this issue and this and that. And I was like, oh yeah. I was like, I ran into that problem. I was like, try this and this and this, and he was like, okay. Next time I saw him, he was like, hey dude, you need to work here. And I was like, okay. Yeah. And he was like, can you come in next Saturday? And I was like, I can't. I got a session. And he was like, well, can you come in this? And he was like really like pushing, and I was like, literally like, for 3 or 4 Saturdays in a row, he would call me. And so finally I was like, okay, I have this Saturday off, I'll go in. And I went in, and we hung out, and I liked it, and boom, I stayed there and bought a lot of my gear there.
Well, so you just kind of just happened to know. So that I'm trying to figure out, because you're trying, like you were in that spot, that position, and that guy just came along. You didn't even know him. You just started talking to him.
Yeah, actually, a lot of stuff like that. I met a lot of reps. The JBL rep would come in, the Shure rep would come in, the Kai rep would come in, or whatever. And sometimes there were guys just like me and you, and they would always have technical issues. And because I was in the pro audio department, they would always go back there and be like, "Hey, dude, have you run into this issue?" And I'd be like, "Well, what's going on?" They'd be like, "Well, this driver is failing on me, or this is not working," and then I help them up, fix it, and get it working. And then the next time around, they'll be like, "Hey, bro, check out what I brought you." I'd be like, "What'd you bring me, dude?" And they would always bring me something. They were always really, really cool with us. And So a lot of the gear I got was from reps,
Wow.
and they would always take care of me.
Yeah.
And of course, every rep was like, "Hey, bro, if you're gonna sell a mic, make sure you sell our brand." And then the next guy would come in and be like, "Hey, bro, if you're gonna sell a mic, make sure you sell our brand."
You'd be like, I'm gonna sell them a Shure 57, bro.
57.
That's all they're getting.
That's all they're getting, right?
But the other guys were smart. They'd be like, if you sell that one, you'll make $10 commission. But if you sell ours, you'll make $8.
You're like, have you heard about Rode mics?
So did you get a lot of bag of tacos? They were bringing a.
Oh yeah, you get all kinds of. And it was different, like back in the '90s and stuff. I mean, sorry, not the '90s, the 2000s when I was there first, because like you would have to build displays, which I didn't know anything about. But they'd be like, okay, you get all these new products, and you can set up whatever. So you would set up like, stuff you would like. You set up your speaker and the setup and da. And then the rep would come in and say, wow, man, that looks pretty good. And then boom, Visa gift card, American Express, and they would be like, good, dude, $200, $250. You'd be like, dude,
Really cared about their product.
yeah. You establish that great relationship with those guys, and they would always, and then they would help you out later on when you had like some order and be like, hey, dude, I can't get this one particular piece. I got this one customer that really needs it, and sometimes they would even pull from their personal stash. Even like the Bose rep was like awesome. Mark Shapiro, shout out to Mark Shapiro. I don't know if he's still out there, but he would do Bose, and I remember I used to have some issue with certain Bose products, and he would be like, you know what, dude, I have some at home. I'm gonna send it to you from no charge, so that I could give it to the customer.
Wow.
So that the customer would stay with their product.
Wow, that's so awesome, man.
Yeah, some of those guys really went out of the way. But unfortunately, as some of these brands got bought out by other brands, it became less and less and less. So like one rep would be, now I do this brand, this brand, this brand, this brand, this brand.
Oh,
this
wow.
brand,
Wow.
There's no more competition because it's the same rep selling everything.
Yeah, and then it became like a JBL doesn't make JBL anymore. JBL is now made by this other company.
Oh, wow.
And this other company didn't make this anymore. And then some were even broken up even weirder, where the company the parts were made by this other company, but it was manufactured by this other one. So it'd be like, okay, I need the part that broke, but you wouldn't order it from that company. It would be like the other third company that made the part for the second company that sent it to the third company that built it.
What the heck?
Yeah, so it got kind of involved.
It's not just Pro Audio that does that, by the way. It's every industry.
Oh yeah.
So that's what that's what's labeled as pro audio?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say so.
The
Professional audio.
What would be like recording and sound and
okay.
lights and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay. I want to say production. Is it production?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice, man. So did you had to sell lights too?
Yeah, but lights was never my thing.
Okay.
I used to just turn on all the lights on the fog machine and be like, what do you think, bro? What you want? That one?
They light up.
But like addressing them, because you could like, control that one and that one and that one and that one. Oh man, all that was really, now it's easy with computers, but back then when it was those old lighting boards, oh man, it was
You
a
had to
nightmare.
program everything.
Yeah. And one bad cable would throw off the whole chain.
Yeah.
So it was cool, but I never really got into lighting. It was not my thing.
Yeah, and shout out to Sound Vibes. I don't want y'all to think we're just biased against
no,
Guitar
no,
Center.
no.
So Sound Vibes is out here too. And anybody, Los Music, you remember Los Music?
Yes,
Oh my God, I got my first guitar over there. You remember that one, bro?
Yeah.
Los Music.
One of my buddies got his
Airline,
Petrucci there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Petrucci. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he got his John Petrucci there. I remember we went
With the faces.
Yeah, with the faces.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he got it there. And I think now it's Riches, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
No, Riches is a little bit more down. But that one little shop, it's something. I think it's changed. Is it Riches? I don't think so.
I don't know if it's the same building, but it's in the same area.
Yeah, it was in the same area.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, Sound Vibes for me, like I said, that's where I go. Like,
Yeah.
anytime I bought something, it was always from Sound Vibes. Unless specifically it was like pro audio stuff, I would always go to this guy.
Yeah, rest in peace to the owner, right? He
Yeah.
passed away
Yeah.
just recently.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I would always buy from Sound Vibes until I started working at Guitar Center.
You got that big discount, right?
Yeah, and only really because I got stuff at cost, But I would always go there because obviously Papa was there, which is another good friend of mine. So I would always go pick his brain about gear and stuff. And before I ever started working, I would buy my stuff there. Really, Guitar Center didn't even exist back then.
No,
it was them. There was Clausen's, and
Clausens.
that was about
There
it.
was the one on Brownlee.
Yeah,
Not Brownlee.
Galvan.
Oh, Galvan's.
Galvan.
Yeah, Galvan's. That's true.
Yeah. It's still there, but I don't think anybody hardly goes in there.
Man, that ballroom there has
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of legacy though.
They're still using it. They're
Yeah.
using it today. Like
I
a lot
think
of the
so.
younger bands. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I used to get calls and they'd be like, "Hey, we need a sound guy for whatever." And I'd be like, "Where's it at?" Galvan's. Hell no. Only because there's no like elevator, so everything's up those steps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
you gotta
Imagine
walk
carrying
everything up there.
subs and everything up those steps. I'd be like, "Nah, I don't care how much you're paying. I'm not doing that gig. No.
Hire me a mover.
Yeah, no way, no way." That was one of those venues where I just never wanted to work. That and kind of like American Bank. American Bank too is, even though they have like an awesome loading area, like from the loading area, dude, to like when you actually get to the exhibition halls, it's like a mile, dude.
Yeah.
Going through all those tunnels and up and down and left and right and and you're in the air condition.
Yeah.
You're not even outside.
Just to walk alone.
Just to walk alone. Yeah.
So you played pretty much every venue. Like which one is like which venues do you like the most? In I guess in here around Corpus.
I like American Bank a lot. I mean, even though I complain about, the distance, only because it's so big. But I've always liked that place. As a matter of fact, funny story, when me and my wife got married, I had a rave that night.
Dang.
Wow.
Shout out to Skip. Skip Entertainment. Skip had hired me. And they were doing like RealmsCon or Comic-Con or one of the, and they had a rave that night. And we had our wedding in the morning. And I told my wife, "Hey, I got this thing. It's tonight. It's good pay." I'm like, "I'm going to do it. And then after that, we'll take off to our honeymoon. But we'll leave with a lot of extra cash to go spend."
Wow.
So literally, we got married. We had our reception, and the dinner and everything. And we went home and we chilled like from, I don't know, maybe 7 to like 10. And then we literally we drove underneath the American Bank, went up the elevator, straight up to the rave. And we were there like from midnight to 4 in the morning doing the rave.
Dang.
I even told my wife, "You even got to take off your wedding dress. Nobody's even going to know."
Yeah,
Because everybody's dressed all crazy there.
A rave, bro.
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
We did a rave there till 4 in the morning, and it was all out and loaded out and packed it all up. And
They had a rave
Boom,
at the
to-
American Bank Center.
Yeah, dude.
When like Comic-Con and stuff like that happens there, they do that like every year. Like
Still?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
yeah, well, they switched venues. I don't know whether they're doing it now, but back then they used to do it. And they would literally do like all the exhibition halls and all the rooms. So they would have like different speakers talking about different anime shows
Right.
or whatever.
It was part of the what is it? What'd you say?
Was
Anime?
it, I think it was called RealmsCon.
RealmsCon, yeah, that's what
Okay.
it was. It's like a Comic-Con or an anime con, but
So you see chingos of Dragon Ball Z guys.
yeah, One Piece.
and all kinds of people. And,
What is that? Like the?
That's a TV show.
Oh, okay.
It's the goat right here. This is the show. If you want to watch anime, this is the show.
One Piece.
One Piece.
Okay. So how do you watch anime? Like, is it on?
There's
Is it?
there's
is it-
websites that you can go
You know
to
what I'm saying?
that are not very friendly.
Oh, okay. I got you. All right. No problem. That's cool, man. Yeah. I always see you wearing like shirts like that. I'm like, what is that, bro? Like,
Yeah. No,
that's
dude.
cool.
I never got into anime until I got married. My wife was into it, and so I started watching it, like Dragon Ball. I started with like Dragon Ball and stuff, and I never thought I was gonna like it. I was like, I don't want to watch stupid cartoons. I'm a man. But then I just started watching it, and I fell in love with like a couple animes, and then finally I just got into One Piece, and One Piece has like 1,100 episodes, and I'm only on like 950 something. Like I'm not even completely.
So
caught
that
up yet.
is that the norm for like those type of shows, like to have
No,
that many?
not usually. One Piece is probably one of the longest running ones, next to like Dragon Ball, Naruto, and Bleach, which are the originals. Like those were the ones that came to the United States, and they're still kind of running today.
Wow.
Everyone has like a couple seasons here and there, then they kind of fall off, or they just end the show.
And is it like I want to associate it with like Chinese
Yeah,
production
Japanese, Korean, Chinese, like it's. Mostly Japanese, like a lot of it's like Japanese. And then there's the whole like sub versus dub argument.
What the heck?
Like, would you rather watch it in sub or would you rather watch it in dub? I will say that some animes I like in dub, some animes I like in sub. Some animes I even watch in Spanish. If you ever watch Demon Slayer in Spanish, that is legit.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real. So I don't know, but
Sub or dub? What is that? Like the
yeah,
sound quality or?
Yeah, no, sub. So like, are you gonna watch it with subtitles?
Oh,
and they're
okay,
speaking
okay.
Japanese, or are you gonna watch it dubbed in English?
Oh, okay. So it's either or. So you're
There's
saying?
only like one of two camps. You're like,
Okay.
I'm either sub or I'm either dub. Yeah,
That's funny, bro.
yeah,
Wow, One Piece. So, and your kids like it too?
yeah, dude. My son's caught up with me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, my son's only 10 years old, and he's watched basically the entirety of One Piece now.
Man, that dude's awesome.
And, yeah, so and my daughters, they didn't really get into One Piece too much, but they've seen a bunch of animes too. So yeah.
That's cool. And Sophia likes Deftones.
Oh yeah, dude, my daughter's like a total new metalhead. Like we listen to all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. That's all. Hey, dude, I want to ask you. So how do you feel about Pantera doing a reunion without the brothers?
I feel like if you want to see Pantera, you can go see it. But me personally, I'm not gonna go see it. Pantera is probably like one of my favorite bands of all time, but without Dime and Vinny there, I don't want to go.
It's not Pantera, bro,
It's not
right?
Pantera.
I feel the same way too. Do you like Pantera?
Even though I like
Yeah.
Zakk Wylde, and it's me personally, I don't want to pay money to go see that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
sorry.
not Dime. Like,
Yeah.
it's not Dime and Vinny. They're not
Yeah.
there. How is it Pantera?
Yep.
Matter of fact, I saw Zakk Wylde here in Corpus.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. At the concrete.
At the concrete.
The concrete.
The concrete.
That was almost as bad as the reasons.
The reasons.
The reasons.
Yeah.
Nice, man.
He was with was it Black Label Society?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One of the loudest bands, dude, I saw here in Corpus.
Oh, wow.
So loud, I literally got up and went to the back.
Did you remember Johnny Land and
Yeah. Remember Johnny?
Texas Sky, right?
Yeah. I actually we did one show there
Really?
many years ago. Yeah, it was a good venue. I don't know what happened to it or what happened.
Do you remember that one?
No, not that one.
I saw Pantera there. They actually played there. I don't know if it was Johnny Land or Texas Sky. It was one of those.
Huh.
And
Nah, that was before my time.
Lollapalooza actually came. I think it was Lollapalooza. Yeah,
Didn't they do Ozfest or one of those there, I think?
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like 2000, because that was like one of my first concerts was Ozfest,
Mhm.
2003, I think. something
The
like
San
that.
Antonio one we
Yeah,
went to?
no, yeah, it was in Salem or Selma.
Selma.
And that was like my first concert. And then I remember everybody was telling me like the year before or 2 years before, they were like Pantera was actually there, because I never actually got to see Pantera.
You didn't?
No, I never went.
Oh.
The funny story, he went with my cousins to go see Pantera, and to this day I will not let my mom live this down.
Oh, man.
They all went. My entire family went.
No way, bro.
And I didn't get to go because I was only 11.
Oh.
I'm sorry, man.
And so I was like, well, whatever. I'll see him like in a couple years, right? Whatever. And when I was like 16, he died, and I was like, dang, this is some.
I'm sorry, bro.
So, but hey, I mean, honestly, like I've seen enough videos, and one of my good friends was actually friends with Dime in Dallas. He said he used to go to like their bar all the time, and Dime was like the most humble person you could ever meet. He was like, oh, how you feeling today? You're not feeling? Here's a shot. Take a shot. That'll make you feel way better. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I've heard stories. So, I mean, it's cool that I haven't seen him, but that would have been one of the bands that I did want to see before.
Yeah. And you had him as your number one on your top 10 TikToks.
Oh yeah, dude. Dime for me is the number one guitarist that I'll always follow. Like, to this day, like I'm still trying to learn solos and be like, man, what did he do here and where did it come from? You know what I mean? Like, how did he come up with this combination? Because some of the artists that I listen to, it's very mechanical. Like there's the theory behind it is very like, we're gonna stay here, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. And for some reason with Dime, it's like he's got these bends that come out of nowhere, and I'm like, man, I would have never thought to bend it there. Like I would have just hit the note straight.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, Dime is just always gonna be like top tier.
Nice.
Yeah.
And most of your top 10 are like metal,
Yeah.
like metal, right?
Yeah. And most of it's like prog metal or gent, just because that's the style of music I listen to the most. But there are phenomenal guitarists out there that are not in those genres that a lot of people were actually mad at me that I didn't put on my TikTok. They were like, why didn't you put Sinister Gates on here? And I'm like, dude, Avenged Sevenfold is good. I just don't like Avenged Sevenfold. I'm sorry.
So you gotta like the band in order to like the.
Not necessarily. There's I would say there's a few guitarists that I follow specifically, and I'm not really a big fan of their band. Rabia Masad is one, and he's a YouTuber, but he also has a band. I'm not really too into his band, but his solo stuff is really good. So I follow him more as a guitarist than the band.
Yeah, yeah, and then you had is it Tobai? What's his name?
Tosin Abasi.
Tosin Abasi.
Yeah, that dude's insane.
Oh yeah, and the theory is crazy, dude. Like he uses a lot of like augmented sounds, and it really doesn't stick to a certain tonality. He does a lot of augmented stuff, and it's like, oh man, this is trippy.
His band
and
it's literally just two 8-string guitar players and a drummer. That's it. Two 8-strings, and so whenever I listen to them, I'm like, man, everything sounds so good. But it's not just metal for them. It's like they'll go into like jazzy stuff. They'll go into like other stuff. So it's really prog, but for when I think of like guitarists that I like, Tosin, even his other guitar player who I can't think of his name off the top of my Rivera, I think his name. But man, he's super good too. He's like just as good as Tosin, if not, right there with him.
And they use their fingers mostly. They don't even.
No. A lot of their stuff is picked, but they do have some like thumping style stuff, or they'll do some crazy stuff with like non-pick or just fingers. You want to talk about guitar players that don't use picks, or that you do a lot of hybrid picking? Mm-hmm. I think of Tim Henson. He's like the Polyphia guy that everybody's talking about now. He's probably the one that's like out there that everybody knows. That video actually got the most views and the most comments on my channel.
I saw that,
and it's just because everybody was arguing that's not metal, that's not rock, that's whatever, bro. He's a great guitarist. What does it matter?
Yeah, exactly.
So and it was my list. It was my personal list. Like, so what do you care?
Yeah, yeah.
It seems like those 8-string guitar players are getting rid of bass players now.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, Meshuggah still has a bass player, so.
Dude, Meshuggah, oh man. Meshuggah's awesome. I like those guys.
Yeah. So.
And I've been listening to like Spotify, and like I'll do similar songs. Mm-hmm. I like Spotify a lot, and I like to find new stuff, and man, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And a lot of these bands are from like overseas, you know what I mean? And they have stuff it's different from the stuff we hear here. That's why I like it a lot. Because I like stuff that's like, it'll change and like it won't go back. Almost like a Baroque type style and not classical. You know how classical reoccurs or whatever? Yeah. It's almost just and then it ends. I think that's mainly the reason why I like it, because that's how my brain is. Like, it's not always...
You remember growing up on the LD50 album? Like how a lot of it was like that?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Like, because a lot of it, there was really like... I mean, some of it had verse, chorus, right? But a lot of it was like, we're going to go into this, and then this, and then we're going to go with this, and then this. And we're never going to go back to the original.
Yeah.
It's just going to keep progressing.
And then August Burns Red.
Yeah, a lot of their stuff too.
And they're heavier than I think they're way heavier than the LD50, which LD50 has its due. But August Burns Red is like that. And I love that, how it just goes and then it doesn't come back. And what boggles me is like, how do they remember all that stuff?
Well, yeah, the band that I think that for is Between the Buried and Me. Like when I think of a band that like, I don't know how they remember their entire set, because you want to talk about a band that doesn't really repeat very often, especially, well, in their earlier stuff, they didn't really repeat very often. It's just sections on sections, 10-minute, 12-minute songs of just like, we're going to the next thing, we're going to the next thing, and the drummer's going crazy, the guitarist is going crazy, there's a piano, there's a guitar, and the bass player, everybody's doing something different. And I'm like, dude, how do y'all remember all this stuff?
I remember that stuff.
Seriously.
Yeah. That's awesome. I think we're coming up in an hour 15.
Yeah.
Cool.
I usually do like an hour, so thank you guys for coming out. Y'all have anything else you want to share?
No, man. I appreciate the time.
Yeah,
man.
Thanks for coming.
I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, getting hungry. Yeah, all right.
There's a Whataburger down the street.
No, as a matter of fact, I stopped by the house to walk my dog real quick before I came over here.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And I was like, oh man, it smells good. My wife was already cooking.
She's cooking. You get a home cooked meal, bro.
I was like, babe, I have to go do this thing. I'll be right back.
Well, I do got some pork chops waiting for me.
Oh, you got one too? Nice, bro. That's awesome.
So.
Yeah, but thank you guys for coming on the show, talking about what you're talking about.
Absolutely, man.
Dude, I could talk about music all day.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Man, best of luck with your endeavors, and I hope everything goes awesome.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yes,
and
sir.
I know any interesting people that I can send this way. I'll try my hardest to convince them.
Tell them I need you to go out there.
All right, y'all. If nothing else, thank you guys for joining. This is Corpus Christi Originals podcast. Have a good one.
Laters.